quarter of Chapter 11, and my topic for today is all about human issue demographic trends. So, how do changes in population relate to the globalization and fragmentation and conflict and cooperation economies? So, we already know what is the meaning of this globalization, fragmentation, conflict, and cooperation. So now, demographic means relating to the study of changes that occur in large groups of people over a period of time. Many developing states, for example, face a youth bulge, defined as large cohort in the ages of 15 to 24 relative to the total adult population. The issue for this cohort of young people is whether they can find jobs in their own countries. As the wealthier states in the world experience greater benefits of economic globalization relative to developing states, people living in the poorer states will seek those same benefits. The pull factor for people to migrate to wealthier states in search of a job and a better life. So, the best example for this issue is those OFW or overseas Filipino workers that work in another country like America, Qatar, and etc. Because of lack of money and poverty, they need to find a better job for a better life. Then, in the case of fragmentation, concerns arise as to whether this youth bulge leads to internal conflict, a security issue. A recent study found that youth bulges in the context of continued high fertility and high dependency make countries increasingly likely to experience armed conflict, while countries that are well underway in their demographic transitions are likely to experience a peace dividend. Those fragmentation of societies is a possibility if younger people are not able to find employment and obtain an education and have no means to migrate. In thinking of cooperation and conflict, we can look at refugees. So refugees means someone was being forced to leave a country because of war or for religious or political reasons. Civil can lead to the push factor in which people are compelled to flee from their homes as internally displaced people within their own country or as refugees flee into neighboring states to avoid the fighting. So, other countries need to leave their place and they go to another country to avoid fighting. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees or UNHCR estimated that by the end of 2004, approximately 200,000 people fled to Chad and 6 million were displaced from their homes within Darfur. So, the best example for that is the ongoing conflict in Darfur. Sudan illustrates this dynamic clearly. Fighting between the government and rebels that erupted in 2003 led hundreds of thousands of people to flee their homes to other parts of the country in neighboring Chad. So, UNHCR, also known as the United Nations Refugee Agency, is mandated by the United Nations to lead and coordinate international action for the worldwide protection of refugees and the resolution of refugee problems. So, this organization is responsible to maintain the peace in the states of the country. As an impartial intergovernmental organization, the agency works in partnership with government, regional organizations, international, and non-governmental organizations. In January 24, the first camp opened, and by September, 10 were created. In this campus, UNHCR built small villages to include family shelters, clinics, wells, schools, and so forth. Next, population growth and decline. Impact of youth bulges in aging populations. So, between 1950 and 1955, approximately 98 million people were born per year. So, imagine 98 million people. Between 2000 and 2010, approximately 136 million people will have been born annually. The rapid growth of the world's population is the root cause of many global problems. According to the U.S. Bureau of the Census, from the dawn of mankind to the turn of the 19th century, world population grew to a total of 1 billion people. So by 1900, the beginning of the 20th century, the world population reached 1.7 million. By the end of the 20th century, the world population was nearly 3 times the size in 1900s at 6 billion people. By 2050, the 2009 world population of 6.8 billion people is projected to increase to more than 9 billion, with 96% of the projected growth occurring in the developing states, namely in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Why is the world's population increasing so fast? The phenomenon of demographic transition accompanies technological and economic development. Once a population gains access to rudimentary sanitation and medical services, the fertility or birth rate quickly overtakes the mortality death rate. Life expectancy increases and the size of the population begins to increase steadily. So, fertility is greater than mortality. That's why the world population increasing so fast. Importantly, as states become wealthier, life expectancy increases, and women become educated and enter the workforce. Women have fewer children and invest more in each one. The result of a lower fertility rate is an aging population. Consequently, the demographic trend in developed countries is generally older and stable, slowly growing or declining populations. In the less developed countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, by contrast, medical advances such as vaccinations have reduced death rates, but family is often large and birth rates remain high, mainly because children are needed to provide labor and income for the family. As a result, the populations of many of these states remain younger and faster growing. According to a recent population reference Bureau article, the fastest growth and youth population will be in places that are the least prepared economically, like Iraq, the Palestinian territory, and Yemen. Urbanization and megacities. So, urbanization means the process by which towns and cities are formed and become larger as more and more people begin living and working in central areas, while the megacities is a very large city. So, as globalization continues, so does urbanization. The important point to recognize is that globalization benefits cities, which are the conduits to integration into the global economy. As people migrate to the cities for jobs, so to do investment opportunities in other economic activity. So according to the UN Population Fund in 2008, more than half the world's population live in urban areas. It is estimated that by the year 2030, 5 billion people will call cities and towns home. With urbanization comes the emergence of megacities. Urbanization comes the emergence of megacities. Cities with more than 10 million people such as Mumbai, Tokyo, Mexico City, Sao Paulo, New York, and Shanghai. In 2007, the United Nations noted there were 19 such cities with a projected increase in 2025 to 27 megacities. So, interestingly, it is projected that almost all the urban population growth will be in smaller cities and towns and less so in the megacities. The problem is that smaller cities and towns are quite weak in their ability to plan for and implement policies to respond to this urban growth. So, smaller cities and towns cannot respond to this urban growth. Then urban and national governments as well as international organizations and civil society at large will need to work together to take proactive steps to respond to growing population in the developing states has global consequences. International responses to population dynamics, importance of family planning. Population trends affect the ability of countries to improve their economies and reduce poverty. Moreover, reducing overall population growth is linked to achieving the international goal of replacement level fertility, which two parents are replaced by two children. So, population trends affect the economic in states economic of the community. So, international goal of replacement level fertility to avoid the poverty or reduce fertility. Next is, in 1954, the first World Population Conference was held in Rome, Italy, to exchange scientific information on population variables, their determinants, and their consequences. Subsequent conference held in 1965, 1974, and 1984 continued to focus on population and the analysis of fertility rates. In 1994, the International Conference on Population and Development held in Cairo, Egypt that explicitly made the link between population growth and development. Program of action. The program moved beyond looking at meeting particular demographic goals to focus on the connection between population and development. This program called for universal access to family planning by 2015 education and for girls and so forth. Contraceptive. Use clearly is not the only factor in fertility. Improving educational and economic opportunities for women also tends to lower birth rates and contributes to economic development. So contraceptive is not only the way to prevent the increasingly growth of population. Educational can help women to control to help lower birth rates and contributes to economic development. Turaya Amin Obaid, the executive director of UNFPA, stated at the 2005 World Summit. In 1995, 30% of the money contributed by donor state went toward reproductive health supplies, but decades later, the amount decreased to 20%. In 2009, the top 10 donors were the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, United States, Denmark, United Kingdom, Japan, Finland, Germany, and Spain. Countries in Latin America, the Caribbean, and Africa also pledged contributions. So in 2010, many donors were unable to maintain the previous of contributions. So as you can see, the contribution or the donor by any countries are decreasing. Yet, the challenge remains as the cost of these services and demand continue to rise. UNFPA and other organizations need to continue to obtain funding sources. So, they will continue to find funding for the projects of lower birth rates. And that's all. Thank you.